Hello everyone. This is the East Coast Economic Update for February the 25th, 2009. A few items I want to cover, one of them being the for the lack of a better term, the State of the Union address by President Barack Obama. I'm going to put a link over here to Peter Schiff's response to it. I think what he indicates in his video, the video is kind of poor because he's doing it off his laptop. He mentions that, but his content is very, very precise. The generation of credit back to 2004 levels is just a ruse to make us think that we can just continue to buy things with money that we don't have for things that we don't need. And without savings, we really can't have a good credit status. But I believe that Mr. Schiff does a much better job than I do. As far as Mr. Obama's issues about taxing people over $250,000, there's a problem with that. And I'm going to explain it because it affects me. No, I don't make $250,000 a year, but I have a small business. And any small businessman will tell you, if your business is worth, just because your business is bringing in $300,000 or $400,000 doesn't mean that you're making $300,000 or $400,000. So those people who have corporations, what they call C corporations, which is a generally incorporated business, or S corporations, which is here in New York. I don't know if about other states. S corporations work like this, which I am one. The business makes a loss, and let's say, for example, if the business makes a loss, then that loss is added onto your personal income taxes, and you get a refund. Conversely, if you make a profit, which I haven't in a couple of years, the tax rate that you pay is not 34%, it's 15% through your personals. The S corporation was created for people in small businesses, mostly retail, which generates anywhere from $250,000 to up to $500,000 or $1 million a year, and would not be able to handle the tax burdens if they made a profit. Now, if I understand correctly, and I believe I am understanding it correctly, that only people that are making $250,000 a year or more will be taxed substantially more. Well, that wipes out pretty much most of the middle class that has a small business. Whether you do construction, whether you're you're selling sneakers like I am, or even have a small convenience store, or what we call it here in the Bronx, a bodega, because the Spanish own these little stores. Those people easily do $250,000 just buying product, clothing, shoes, food, coffee, whatever convenience stores buy, and they also pay their employees. That's all part of that. So inadvertently, Mr. Obama is going to tax the rest of us. I mean, we're already being hammered by not having people coming in and buying stuff or using our services, and now he's going to tax us. So that's an issue that is going to be a real problem. I know, Travis, I know that you have a business. I'm sure you're not bringing in $250,000, but I bet your business is. And that affects guys like Travis here, myself, and anyone else who even wants to think about opening a business. Don't forget, during the communist period in Russia, they didn't make being a privateer, as they call it, a private business owner, illegal. They just taxed the hell out of you. So you would be discouraged to own a business. So you'd fall into two categories. One person who would become a federal whatever, on the welfare doles, or you'd create a black market business where you'd hide your money, and you'd hide it from the government. And it'd get so scary that a lot of people in Russia who had black markets, and not all of them were drugs and guns, some of them were as simple as, having bread and flour and vegetables, because they couldn't motivate their employees. I mean, the government couldn't motivate their employees to make anything because they get paid, 100 rubles a day, whether they grew 50 vegetables or zero. And this is where we're going. Now, I wanted to share with you a quote. I just got this book a couple of days ago. It's, let me see if I can put this in here. is called America's Great Depression, and it's by a guy named Murray Rothbard. Now, you might think this is a new book, but it's not. It was written in 1963 in regard to the Great Depression. He basically, he is a, or he was, he's no longer alive, an Austrian economist, and he explained how the Great Depression happened. And I'm going to read you chapter 7, just the first paragraph, just to see if it sounds familiar to you, to the present situation. It's on 167 of his book, page 167, begins chapter 7, and it's entitled Prelude to Depression, Mr. Hoover and Laissez-Faire Capitalism. And it says, and I quote, "If government wishes to alleviate rather than aggravate a depression, it is only valid course is laissez-faire, to leave the economy alone. Only if there is no interference, direct or threatened, with prices, wage rates, business liquidations, will necessarily adjust and proceed with smooth dispatch. Any propping up of shaky positions postpones liquidation and aggravates unsound conditions. Propping up wages creates mass unemployment, and bolstering prices perpetuates and creates unsold surpluses. Moreover, a drastic cut in the government budget, both in taxes and expenditures, will of itself speed adjustment by changing social choice towards more savings and investment relative to consumption. For government spending, whatever is labeled attached to it is solely consumption. Any cut in the budget, therefore, raises the investment and consumption ratio in the economy and allows more rapid validation of originally wasteful and lost yielding projects. Hence, the proper injunction to government in a depression is to cut the budget and leave the economy strictly alone." This was written back in 1963. And what Mr. Rothbard stated, basically, I'm paraphrasing now from what I just read, is that the best thing is to not get involved with the government. Let the government bail out, shaky institutions. Allow the liquidation and the drop in price to allow an equalization of an economy. And he goes on how first it started with Hoover not being a true laissez-faire Republican and starting bailouts, and then followed by FDR doing the same until, unfortunately, World War II happened. And what saved us was the fact that we produced our way out of the Depression. Without the war, unfortunately, and without our industrial strength and our industrial capacity, we would be insolvent even today, 60, 70 years later. Just as a side note at the end, I would like to thank two people. You guys got to have better channel names. This guy's channel name is Harry Turds. He gave me some information on batteries in regard to my previous video of the cabin and the homestead. Thank you very much. EV Crawfish Mark, thank you. He sent me a private video. A lot of this stuff we had thought about, and I think it's important. And one Samote Race 77, I'm sorry, also sent me a detailed question and answer about using wind power. Thank you very much. Ray Cheetah, I'm going to do a video on kosher in my Ask the Rabbi series. It's going to be multifaceted, and you're going to find out why when I do the first kosher series. So at this point, the market went up yesterday almost 254 points. I went up over 254 points, and now it's down. At one point, it was down. It's now down 127. At one point, it was almost down 200. This is now buy and sell. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I will say this once, and I will say it 1,000 times. Do not look at the Dow industrial averages. Just keep your eyes on gold and silver, precious metals, and the 10-year and the 30-year bond. When they cross, then look at that 2-year. This will indicate where we're going, and it's getting closer. So until next time, guys, peace.